Uh, Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Um, yeah, Safety and Security Declarations webinar is something we have been thinking about doing for some time. We have been dealing with many problems, issues with declarations, all sorts, and after doing the first thousands of them, we realized we have expertise we can share on the market. So I'm really happy to do it right now with you. I hope you have questions, and I hope I have answers. But let's start from very beginning. The whole point of this webinar is to give practical solutions to ordinary problems you encounter in those declarations. And I have no doubt that there are problems and there are constant issues, even though those declarations have been there for a long time. So my name is Dawid Chmielewski. I represent the company called MoveExpert, and supporting transport companies with safety and security declarations is one of the services we offer. We would like to know that we are doing our bit for transport industry. So if you have any questions or inquiries, don't wait until the end. Please ask it right now in the group chat. My colleague will try to answer them straight away, and I will address them by the end of the webinar. If you have a question you don't want to post over here, you can always contact me via email. My email will be displayed underneath by the end of the webinar. Now, welcome agenda. So the first thing first, which is the question, why are these declarations still causing problems? And the answer is different depending on the declaration. There are 3 systems involved, and every system has got different requirements and different flaws because they are all flawed in one way or another. Our job is to find a way around those flaws. So I will discuss each one of them separately, and I hope I will present enough knowledge to present a solution to a problem if the solution can be given. So the first will be ICS2. ICS2 is a new iteration of our import control system that has been with us for over a decade. The reason why ICS2 is seen as something brand new is because before it was responsibility of customs agents to do. Now it has been shifted to transport companies. Transport companies will have to complete ICS2 declarations, and they will have very little time to do that. The issues of ICS2 will be discussed, and I hope the solutions will be viable enough to use it. ELO, which is envelope logistic, is supposed to make life very easy in a post-Brexit world. It's supposed to connect the customs documents and safety and security declarations into one barcode. The practice showed that it made life easier for port staff and for customs agencies and for border force, but definitely life much more difficult for transport companies due to its own limitations. And finally, ENS GB, which is the sort of declaration that has been with us for 18 months, if I remember correctly. It started beginning of last year, and even though it has been with us for such a long time, it still causes a major challenge and can cause plenty of issues. The ENSGB has changed throughout last year, and because of that, the way it's being made is also changed. And finally, I will introduce ENSGB Express, which is new service, but new old service. It's the alternative way of making ENS with us that will address many of the issues customers are struggling with today. Finally, Q&A. I really hope you have questions. So please don't hesitate to ask. I'm here. So why this webinar? Why are we discussing this today? Well, why? It's because 18 months passed and we're still struggling with declarations. They require different thing, different customs documents each time. And we decided to address the issue as well. As much as you struggle with it, we are struggling with it as well. So one of the first question is, who is responsible for completing ENS declarations? Responsibility is very fluid issue when it comes to ENS. There is no written rule that it's the transport company that is responsible, but it's always transport company that will pay consequences for not having one. Therefore, when the vehicle turns up at the port, it's always transport company that will have to make sure the documents are fully completed and they are fully ready. Big issue is that since all the parties that deal with the paperwork or provide the paperwork are not facing consequences, quite often they take things very lightly. Therefore, it's a transport company that will have to put their foot down and, above all, recognize if the paperwork is enough, if the transit or import or export document is legit. And that's not always the case. I have seen the situations where the transport company has been given incorrect paperwork, and customs agent or whoever provided the paperwork was very certain that it is. Generally, the consequence was that the vehicle was stopped at the port and ended up being stranded for a day or even longer until the right paperwork was provided. Submitting declarations on time is also a big issue. Not always it has solution, as we will see. We will soon see. Poor data quality is another thing. We make declarations on customs documents. If the customs documents can't be read, the declarations can't be made. Therefore, if I can ask, I always provide the best quality scans, PDF files, and if there is no other way, pictures. I'm very aware that with transit documents, pictures is probably the only way you can provide the documents. Nevertheless, it's important to keep the dialogue going, keep the conversation going, to make sure that if there are any rejected declarations, the customer is informed, so we can address the issue accordingly. And different requirements depending on the system. That's what I said before. Every system has got its own tweaks, its own flaws, and its own requirements, even though they all do pretty much the same thing. So the first declarations I would like to talk about would be, oh, I do apologize for that, ICS2. ICS2, which is Import Control System, second iteration, is European Safety and Security System. All goods entering EU, regardless of the border, will have to have ICS2. It's a safety and security declarations that inform border force and customs agent throughout all Europe of the potential dangers of goods being transported. The whole point of import control system is to combine all customs paperwork throughout Europe and make it within one system. So every country in Europe has got their own border force, their own customs service, but the very same import control system. Now, ICS2 is nothing really that new. There were talks about sorting out the replacement for import control system for years. And here it is. And as we could expect, it's pretty flawed. First of all, the things that cause issues. Missing mandatory data. That is the big one because ICS2 require very particular information about goods transported. Not all paperwork have that information. Carnet ATA or ATA Carnet, for example, but it's not legally required to provide commodity code for goods. Nevertheless, you can't complete ICS2 without one. Therefore, when we complete ICS2 declarations for you, we always require as much information about goods transported as much you can provide. So if it's Carnet ATA, we always require to provide us with Carnet, but also with CMR and additional information about the goods. As oral declaration is pretty much the same issue. ICS2 will still have to be completed for them. Nevertheless, there will be no customs document attached to it, which is very interesting because ICS2 will check for validation of a European EORI number and commodity code, but it will not check for validation of customs documents. Using another words, we can make ICS2 on virtually everything you can provide us as long as we've got the right details. As for poor quality documents, well, that is self-explanatory. Quite often people are making ICS2 together with ELO declaration, which is no-brainer really. But and the document we are being provided with is transit T1 or T2. General, they are poor quality documents because they have been pictured rather than scanned. So the rule is that if we can't read the document, we ask to provide the details by hand, or we ask for a better version. So that will resolve one of the issues we are struggling with. And finally, missing pages. There is a rule of making ICS2 on T1. It's a rule, but it's not a requirement. We are actually happy if you provide us with import declaration or export declaration. There is no import if there is a T1, obviously, but if you can provide us with export declaration, that would be enough. It's clear, transparent. As for T1, quite often we are being given the first page of the document, while the most important information about the goods being transported is always on second, third, etc., etc. Therefore, if we are providing us with transit document, please make sure that you scan every single one of them, or just send us export document. That will do. As for no commodity code, well, this is something we are all struggling with, but there is hope. The hope is that while we have been looking for commodity code for all declarations or for Carnet ATA, there were not a single complaint ever made. Those documents were all approved by customs. So we believe that this is the flaw everyone is aware of, and everyone found the way around it. If there is no commodity code, please provide us with as much information as you can. Now, there is another issue we are struggling with, you are struggling with as well, which is providing us with unfinished declarations. T1 is can be processed only if it's open. So T1 document will have to be open in Ashford Inland Border Services. Once the document is printed, and once you have MRN number, then you can send it. Then we can make ICS2 and ELO. Before, the T1 that is equipped with LRN number, not MRN number, won't do, I'm afraid. And we are certain of our knowledge. So if you have any questions, you can always give us a call, and we can explain things over the phone. As we have encountered the situations where customs office or customs agents were very certain that this document was complete. Well, in fact, it wasn't. The second thing, as for ICS solution, is what we can do to make things better. As long as you remember those steps, better data collection, validation before submission, making sure everything is done properly, and knowing who is responsible for sorting out ICS declaration. This is also very important, because not always ICS is necessary. There is one particular form called TSIAD, which is Transit and Security Accompanied document, that has ICS2 within. So it only means that when you have one of those combined document, ICS2 won't be needed. If you transport goods via a European border, in order to complete ICS2 declaration, we would need to know the code of customs office. I'm sure you're aware of what the code is. Nevertheless, please do bear in mind that this is the service we also provide. We can make ICS2 declarations for transports from Turkey, Serbia, Morocco, etc., etc. And monitoring declaration status. That is also a very, very interesting one, because the system is dynamic. It changes all the time. And I do remember around a month ago or 2 months ago, there was a change, short-lived, however, that made ELO impossible until ICS declarations was 100% and fully approved. In general, those declarations are pre-approved, so MRN number is provided. Nevertheless, ELO will not be made until we're gonna get full green light. This is not the case at the moment, but I don't really know what the future is going to bring. So whatever the situation is, we are going to keep you informed. And the next one is ELO. And this is no doubt the one that causes the most issues. ELO, the whole point of ELO is being a French equivalent of GMR, combining all customs documents with newly required ICS2 declaration into one entity that can be scanned at the port. It sounds simple, and by definition, it speeds up the process at the port. However, ELO has got some major issues. One of them being that in order to make ELO with imports, you have to provide opened T1 document, and that document can be achieved only when the driver drives in Ashford Inland Border Facility and claim one. With late night crossing, it means that ELO can be made only within half an hour between Ashford Inland Facility and the port of Dover or Folkestone. If this is the late night crossings, there is no alternative. The ELO will have to be put on hold until all documents are provided. And as far as I know, this is the major problem, and there is no immediate solution to it. There are only 3 inland facilities, border inland facilities in the UK. 2 of them are 20 minutes away from each other, which is Stop 24 in Folkestone and Inland Border Facility in Ashford. The third one is in Holyhead, and that generally helps with Holyhead Dublin crossings. That is obviously also requiring ICS2. Nevertheless, if you have late night crossing, the best thing to do is to be aware that ELO will have to be made. The port staff, under very special circumstances, can make ELO if you provide them with T1 document, but this is counting on port staff goodwill, so it's not permanent solution. And I have heard many instances of vehicles being put on hold until ELO is provided. If something like this happens, please let us know. If there's anything we can do, we will do it. Another thing is incorrect paperwork. ELO is not one declaration, there are 2 declarations. There is export ELO and import. With goods being exported from EU, export documents, EU export documents is all we need. The rule of thumb is ELO will only accept European documents, so British import or British T1, etc. won't do. T1 is actually different, but British import or export won't work, I'm afraid. So with export ELO, if you are transporting goods from Great Britain, from Europe to Great Britain, you need to provide all export documents you have, and that's all you need. If the goods are being imported to Europe, you will need T1 or ICS2 document. If you are not using transit procedures and everything goes on pre-lodged import, then the barcode MRN number of pre-lodged import, which probably is the only thing you are given at the time, and ICS2 will be required. There are instances where ICS2 system is down, and in order to make ELO, no ICS2 can be provided. I know that in the past, the transport companies were waiting for the right document to arrive, but from our experience, there were times where ICS2 was not working for 2, 3, or even 4 hours. And the Port of Dover and Port of Calais can't afford having the traffic being stopped for that long. There are around 8,000 vehicles that is going each direction every day. Therefore, if there's a problem with ICS2, we will inform you about it. And if we can't make your ICS2 declarations, it only means no one can. Therefore, the driver will be allowed to go at the port and at Irish Ferries or P&O or DFDS or Eurotunnel office. ELO will be made purely and only on T1 document. Now, this is very important. ELO will be made on T1 document, but if you have a barcode, instead of going to ferry companies, please let us know. We are going to provide you with ELO on the barcode as well. And then lastly, lack of documentation. Something I've been telling before. We might receive import and export, etc., but not every document you provide us with is the correct one. So we always insist on staying informed, really being aware of documents you provide us with. If the goods are going from Europe to Britain, which is probably the most common way, we need export only, nothing more. Export MRN numbers is all we need to make ELO for you. And if you have any questions, our lines are pretty much open. So ELO solutions, best practices. I believe that after the first 10, 20, 30 or 100 imports and ELO exports, everyone knows what to use and how to use it. Knowledge and expertise, that's self-explanatory, and real-time updates. If the system is down, this is something very important to keep the communication going, to keep the dialogue. And error reduction, making sure the MRN number is given to us clearly, and making sure that if you write it down, you do have such option, you don't make a mistake. ELO system does verify MRN numbers on the spot. Therefore, if wrong MRN number is provided, ELO is going to be rejected until the right one is being put in. So now ENS GB, and this is the one that has been with us the longest. ENS has started beginning last year, 1st of January 2025, as one of the pillar of post-Brexit transport and reality. Basically, Britain stopped being part of import control system overnight, and there was a need of actually starting something brand new, something on their own. ENS has been planned and made for a very long time, and despite all of that, it still causes issues and still causes problems. Now, I said before that ICS2 system verifies EORI number and commodity code. ENS GB does no such thing. Doesn't require EORI number and doesn't require commodity code, which is very handy if we are dealing with carnets or oral declarations. However, it has got some issues on its own. One of them being that it is a vital part of GMR declarations, and while the ENS itself allows you to put many consignments within a single declarations, in general, GMR will have to be made per consignment. Therefore, we have a practice within MoveExpert that we provide you with different ENS GB for each consignment you provide us with. So you can complete each GMR without any problems or issues. Of course, there is a way to do it on one ENS GB, but we aligned ourselves with the market practice. If you still require to have one ENS for all consignments, I believe we still can do it. Issues with ENS, incorrect or incomplete paperwork. That happens all the time. Something that happens very often is customs documents are being provided with without a consignor or consignee details. Something that shouldn't be allowed happens nevertheless. So what do we do about it? We speak to you, we call you, and we gather the information all the way. Sometimes we ask for supporting documents, CMR. Sometimes another paperwork, like another customs document. I think that's the best way of actually dealing with the issues. Nevertheless, the issues are there. Doing ENS GB will require you to have those conversations going if there is something wrong. And since ENS is a vital part of GMR, and as we probably all know, the GMR and ELO will have to be scanned at the port, we came up with a solution to have ENS done within your full control, without going back and forth, without unnecessary communication. But I will get to that. In general, when it comes to ICS2, ELO, and ENS, ENS GB is the oldest and therefore provides the least issues at the moment. Nevertheless, the market is fluid. Things are changing all the time. The declarations are quite dynamic as well. There was a time when we were thinking that ENS is not here to stay, that ENS is going to be scrapped at some point. But when it became a vital part of GMR, which happened last year, we knew that there is no coming back. So every company that transports goods to Great Britain and back will have to have that facility, ENS GB. If you have any questions in regards to that declarations, obviously we can help you out with. One of the things you will require to do your ENS, as you probably know, is a British EORI number. Opposite to European EORI number, British one is made on the spot. It can be made. If you don't have it, we can also provide you with one. Obviously, for a small fee. Tight border deadlines is another issue we are dealing with. As I said, the problem is that the transport never stops and there's a short window to provide the driver with all the documents. Therefore, efficiency is our number one priority, and hence we came up with ENS Express, which is another service I would like to discuss. Now, this is not something entirely new. All companies that ship with us already have access to ENS Express. They can make ENS through our system by themselves with no extra cost. The plus of this system is 24/7, regardless of the time of the day. It's always open, always available. And it's much, much quicker if you expect the document that can cause potential problems. The way it works is it's AI-based. The customs document is taken, scanned, all details are being copied in to ENS declarations, and everything in front of you. So if you see any issues, any problems, you can correct them by hand. By finishing the declarations, you generally create a PDF file you can use to create GMR. This is pretty much foolproof service, but I do believe that there might be questions in regards to that. So we are more than capable of providing you with the trial, or show you how it works, or even personalized call. If you have any questions, if you get stuck with that, I do believe that the best approach is to grab the phone and call me directly, so I can lead you through the process. I can assure you that this is, at the moment, the quickest and the most convenient of making ENS declaration. Mind you, this system works at the moment only with ENS GB. This is the way MoveExpert tried to answer your problems and your issues, since our office works until 10 p.m. So if there's a late night declarations, this is the only way of making it. So the best approach is to learn how to use it. If you don't have to use it at the moment, but I promise you that eventually there will be a time when there will be no choice than to use it. And finally, the incentives or benefits of ENS GB Express, which is generate MRN in 2 minutes. At the moment, if you use our stuff, it should be between 10 and 15 minutes, if I remember correctly. Available day and night, including weekends. You can upload your customs documents. AI will extract the data, and that will reduce waiting times and provide you with the service. One thing I find the most important is in the process of making that, you never lose control. Everything is within your hand. And I think that for transport companies, that is very important to be able to rely on yourself rather than on other people. So the way it works is you upload your customs declarations, review and complete your declarations. If it's incomplete, it does happen that some data is not there because customs documents sometimes are not as completed, as thorough as they should be. And while transport companies can get away with transporting goods with incomplete customs documents, as for ENS, that's a different story. And finally, receive your MRN number, MRN, I mean ENS MRN, within 2 minutes. Oh, finally, if you have any questions in regards to that service, please do send me an email or give me a call. Now, questions and answers. I will see and I'll have a look if there are any. I would love to be able to answer some. Let's have a look. I see that so far there are none. So if you have any questions, please write down my email address, which is dchmielewski@movexpert.com, and we will take it from there. Thank you for your time. Thank you for attending, and thank you for your patience. Please don't hesitate to contact me in case of problems, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.